All right, good morning, guys. It's finally both of us back. I've had to record the last couple of weeks, and they were kind of crap content. Just me pulling up the wrong prices and whatever, but whatever. Um, Interesting week 4 slate. Some interesting spots to get to. There's some injuries that can save you some money. I wonder if Miami's going to drop 70 again. Then again, they're playing Buffalo, so probably not. Why don't we just jump into QBs right away?
Yeah, that works.
Because there's definitely some interesting spots. So right here, it's got Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Tua Tagovailoa, Kirk Cousins. I think Anthony Richardson said that he's going to play Wilson, Fields, Burrow. And what planet is Joe Burrow the same price as Justin Fields? That's crazy to me. Um, but what's standing out to you right now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the game of the week for everyone's going to be this Buffalo Miami game. Um, Allen looks good. 9K is tough, especially if you're going to pair him with Diggs. You're pretty strapped for cash there. So I'd probably get different and play Gabe Davis or maybe one of the tight ends. Kincaid's still pretty cheap if they finally decide to start using him. Hertz is fine. He gives you a nice floor. I think he's more like a cash game quarterback every week than actual tournament ceiling kind of guy. Herbert, I think I'm off at 86. He means like 28, which is fair. I mean, he threw 50 times last game and he got 29. So I just don't know if they're going to need to throw it that much against this Raiders team who's pretty bad. Lamar, just going to fade that game. Divisional matchup just seems like an under spot against Cleveland, who's been pretty good on defense to start the year. Tua looks fine, $1,000 cheaper than Allen in the same game, but if I was going to pair him, I'd pair him with Waddle. Hill at 9,600, you like he needs 30 for tournament value. Just seems pretty tough to get there. Cousins, I think I'm just off there. Richardson's a pretty good play. He practiced fully yesterday, so I think he's going to play. Pittman's still pretty cheap as a nice pairing there. Joe Burrow gets the worst secondary in the league, basically, with the Titans. Nice pairing with Jamar T, but also seems like an under game. And then this is probably the last chance you'll get to play Fields. I would play him if I was playing multiple lineups. I don't know if I'm going to play him in our one lineup, but him and DJ Moore seems like a pretty good pairing, and you can play a bunch around that because it's pretty cheap stack. Purdy's okay. I mean, it's more interesting if Debo is out because you get more value there. Everything else, I think that's it, honestly.
I'm definitely having a lineup with Justin Fields. I need to feel something. Um, yeah, Josh Allen and Tua, I don't really mind either one of them. I do think the Bills can kind of humble Miami a little bit. I mean, Miami, they're going to be good regardless of the outcome of this game, but I can definitely see Buffalo kind of stomping on them a little bit. I'm off Hurts in the aspect, kind of like you said, he's mostly like a cash lineup only guy. But they're also playing Washington. I believe they're like 9-point favorites. Now, the only thing that would suck is if they're on the 1 yard line and they just tush push Hurts 3 times. Herbert, I still like regardless, but kind of like you said, against Vegas, I think they're 5.5-point favorites. Lamar Jackson, Miles Garrett's on the other side, so no thanks. Kirk Cousins looks good here at 7,900, playing against Carolina. Richardson is interesting against the Rams, who haven't been that great. Um, I mean, they looked a little better against Cincy, but not enough to win. Um, Truth be told, I like Fields and Wilson. Just too bad defenses were going to make Russell Wilson look like he was on the Seattle Seahawks and they went to the Super Bowl. So if you pair Wilson, maybe stack with Cortland Sutton or Jerry Judy, Fields stack with Moore, that's about it. Joe Burrow doesn't look bad at all. Never thought I'd see the day that Joe Burrow and Justin Fields are the same exact price. Even though it screams an under game, I mean, imagine the game that Burrow played on Monday night, but he threw for 2 touchdowns. That's kind of all you need from him. Staying away from Purdy just because it's against Arizona. They should beat the living crap out of them. Purdy might throw for 50 yards. That's it. The only thing I can think of maybe is Dak at 7K, but I don't even like that at all. Just, I would kind of look at Allen, Herbert, Burrow, Wilson, Fields. That's about it. I guess if you want to take the shot of tush push Philly, then go for it. But all right, let's go to running backs. So we got Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler, Tony Pollard, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Master Swift, Williams, Mixon, Moss, Madison, White, Cook, Robinson. I have already talked too much. All
You can
right.
just keep it up the screen while we're talking.
Okay. All right. What do you think?
McCaffrey's a pretty good play. Again, he needs like 28 to 30 for value here, but I mean, San Fran should be able to handle Arizona pretty handily. He's given you 20 every game so far. Seems like a pretty safe spot if you're not paying up at quarterback. Just pay up for McCaffrey. Eckler says he practiced in limited fashion Thursday. I don't see them playing him, honestly. Also, 9,600, I'd rather just play McCaffrey at 97. Pollard, great volume. Don't know if I really love the spot here. I would sprinkle a little Pollard back lineups. Jacobs, 8,200, no thanks. I need him in like the mid sevens. Derrick Henry, it's Derrick Henry, but they just have not been using him the way they used to in the past. So I think I'm off there. Mostert, I'm not chasing the 50-point game, no chance at 8K. Swift has looked pretty good. I think if we're going to get some Philly exposure, that's where I would want to go. Kieran Williams, he's got a, I mean, he's a usage monster, it seems, at least snap share percentage wise. So I like him if you need a run back for like a AR stack with Pittman. Mixon, Bengals just have not looked good. Don't really trust the spot here. Zach Moss also has looked like a usage monster as well. 30 carries last week. I mean, he's just a good play. And to be fair, Madison, the same thing. He's probably my favorite play in that range, honestly. Madison, 20 carries last week. Rashad White gets some usage in the passing game. He's just not efficient. Don't think I want to play him at 7K. James Cook, I like. Robinson, I'm off. Sanders, I'm off. Kamara, I think I'm just wait and see. Ford, 6,400 seems a little steep for his usage. Stevenson, no. A Chain, no. Pierce, no. Connor, kind of. Najee, how bad can Najee be for the rest of the season? Like, there's just no way it can be any worse.
Yeah, yeah, you could. I was just watching the whatever game, the Vegas game, and it was like he was just standing at the line of scrimmage. I understand being patient as a running back, but they're like, did you watch the game yesterday? Montgomery's just running through people. He'll just see like a small hole and just freaking run. Najee just stands there and waits for something.
Yeah,
I mean, he could be better, but I mean, against Houston, this might be a decent spot for him, to be honest.
that's what I'm thinking. And then below that, I mean, Eckler's out, and you can always die on the Kelly sword again, get you 3 fantasy points. Gus Edwards looked pretty efficient last week before he got a concussion, but in the red zone, they just leaned on Lamar's run game. But I can see him falling in the end zone once. Javante Williams, it feels like every week he's due and he just never does anything. But I would sprinkle some of him. Keep scrolling. Yeah, I don't think there's much else, honestly. I wouldn't play anyone below Gus Bus probably.
Yeah, I wrote down Stochastic's top five in some of like my plays. So it goes CMC, Pollard, Eckler. I thought I saw something that said Eckler was out, but then I looked ahead. They have a bye next week in week 5. So they might just rest him. So then that way he doesn't get hurt. I don't know if we want to play Joshua Kelly. Every time we play him, he does nothing. But they have Miles Sanders right behind him, which I understand. And then they have Derrick Henry. The one thing I'll say about Derrick Henry is he's 8K. I can't remember the last time he was 8K. And I know they're not using him as well, but I mean, it's definitely worth a shot if you have multiple lineups. Um, Jacobs, I'm always going to say this. He's playing for a contract, so he's got to show something. Didn't look too bad last week, so not a terrible option. Swift against Washington, he's just been a monster. I don't know if I want to go to Monster just because of them putting up 70 last week. Kyron Williams against Indiana, sure. Kind of like you said with Zach Moss, he got like 30 carries. He's high usage right now, so I understand that play. Madison looks good against Carolina. I don't know what they plan on doing with Cam Akers, but I mean, it's not like it's going to be a 50-50 split, but the way that these teams treat them is kind of weird. But James Cook looks interesting here, 6,800. The only other, I mean, I guess you can go Jerome Ford, but I don't know. There was another, the only other couple guys I can think of right now, Najee Harris and Javante Williams. I know I kind of just gave you shit about Harris, but I mean, it's against Houston. He's going to have to do something to keep his starting job. Jalen Warren played a lot on Sunday. I saw something from Underdog saying they're going to increase Warren's usage. So I think that's kind of a sign for Harris, like, hey, like, you might lose your spot if you don't step up. So it's not a bad price tag either. The thing I like about Javante Williams is he's 5,800 against a crappy Bears team. I wouldn't even be surprised if he got 100 rushing yards and a touchdown at 5,800.
That's what
That's
you need
obviously, huh?
is that's what you need from him is like 17 fantasy points for term and value. So be like 100 in a tud, maybe a couple receptions instead.
Playing against the Bears. But I mean, I think he can get there, but I'm scrolling through the list. Are you interested in Zeke revenge game?
I'm good.
And no, there's nothing else besides that. I guess Khalil Herbert a little bit, but nothing too serious.
Not play Herbert. Rashawn Johnson has been like on the up and up with the snap percentage.
I think we need to trade Herbert and get Jonathan Taylor. That's just me though.
Yeah.
Make the Bears great again. Um, Wide receivers, we got Ty Hill, Keenan Allen, Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Debo, Mike Evans. Wow, you can tell I got sleep last night. Mike Evans, Chris Olave, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Brandon Ayuk. I'm not gonna read all these players because we can go through the list for days, but all right, give me your 2 cents.
So, like I said earlier, I just don't think I can pay 9,600 for Hill. And like most of the time, he's going to get you 20, but is he going to get you 30? It's a reach. Keenan Allen in half PPR at 9,500 is like the craziest play I've ever seen in my life. I can't click him confidently, even if he got 20 targets again. Like he's gonna get you 20 again, but will he get you 30? Unlikely. Justin Jefferson, I think, has the best ceiling of those guys up top. Again, he's always automatic for 100 yards. If he just gets in the end zone twice, he's getting there. Diggs, again, if you're pairing with Allen, pretty nice spot, but it's hard to fit that stack. Jamar Chase looks good. He was pretty much peppered uh, on Monday night, so I like him. Adams' fair price tag against Charger secondaries look pretty suspect. Devo, I mean, who knows if he plays? If he does play, he's fine. If he doesn't play, bump Ayuk. Mike Evans can't play him against Lattimore, who's strapped him his whole career. Olave looks good. If you're playing a Philly option and you're not playing Swift, I'd probably play Brown over Smith for the same price. Brown just feels like he has a higher ceiling. Also, just feel like he's more talented, but I could be wrong. I mean, Devontae Smith won the Heisman, but AJ Brown just like feels like the superior receiver. I don't know. CD Lamb, sure, seems pretty matchup proof, but I don't know. Dak's pretty hit or miss, so who knows? Puka, he just continues to be a machine. He's in play. Waddle's probably my preferred Miami stack option. T's okay. Pittman's a good play if you're stacking with AR. I can't pay 7-1 for Sutton. That's just too high. Same with Pickens. That's crazy. Cooper has a fair price, but just like a under game, it feels like. So I don't know if I really want to get there. Myers at 7K is crazy. Thielen 7K is crazy. Like the pricing here is nuts. Terry, he just hasn't shown it to me. The offense hasn't shown it to me. Gabe Davis is a good option. Godwin's a good option. Addison, if you just got a bump in his snap share, would be good. But Osborne's outrunning him right now. Collins is a good play. Tutu, Tank. I like this 6K range a lot, to be honest. I like Zay. DJ Moore is a good play. Palmer. Don't know what's going on with Marquise Brown, but he's probably a fine play. And I mean, you can pretty much go if you want value. I tend to lean a value receiver and pay up a running back, get the safety with the running back points because there's a lot of good 5, 6K receivers. I feel like.
Marquise Brown, better play. That's all I gotta say. So stochastics, wide receivers in order: Keenan Allen, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs. Tyreek Hill, 9,600. He's playing amazing. Can he keep it up against Buffalo's defense? The only way I can really see that happening, Zay Jones ruled out. I don't think we really. Wait, is that the kid that's on the Jags?
Yeah, it's an early game.
Oh, okay. Doesn't affect me. Um, the thing with Tyreek Hill is he's going to need like a blown coverage, in my opinion, or he's just going to need to get 10 to 12 receptions to make it even worth it. Keenan Allen at 9.5 is insane. He had like the game of his career last week. Threw a touchdown to Mike Williams. Just kind of nuts. Don't think he can do it again. But I mean, kind of like I said earlier, the spread is 5.5. So it could be a semi close-ish game unless the Chargers just do what they did, or do what the Lions did, went up 27-3, and then kind of just coasted the rest of the game. But Justin Jefferson, I agree with you, probably looks the best out of the top guys. Diggs against Miami. Diggs, no matter what, in my opinion, is almost always an option. Jamar Chase, he's Jamar Chase. Burrow looked a little better last week. He started feeding Chase, so I mean, I like this option against a terrible Tennessee defense. Devontae Adams looks good against kind of the same thing I was saying against Tennessee, kind of crappy Chargers secondary. I did see that Jimmy G was in concussion protocol, but I read something that he was out on the practice field and that typically means like on Thursday for a concussion protocol, if you're on the field practicing, you're 9 times out of 10 you're fine. So I don't think that'll be an issue. Debo is interesting, but I mean he's got a ribs injury. I think you told me that he didn't practice, right? Is that
Yeah,
what you said? I can't remember. So I mean, playing against the Cardinals, this could just be a game they sit him and just bring back Ayuk. I could be totally wrong, but Mike Evans, he finds a way to get thrown out against Lattimore. So, I mean, not terrible play, but it's also, do you want to risk Lattimore? Olave looks good. Honestly, both Devontae Smith and AJ Brown look good, but pick one because they're 9-point favorites. So, kind of who knows what can happen. Ayuk limited practice yesterday, I believe, so he looks like he's going to be good to go. I think I'm staying away from CeeDee Lamb for maybe a couple more weeks up until like Dak can show me that he's a good quarterback. Puka is Puka. I mean, he's insane. I've never heard of this guy, and then week one he just goes absolutely insane. Jalen Waddle back from injury, kind of like you said, if you're stacking Miami like with Tua, definitely go with Waddle. Future Chicago Bear wide receiver T. Higgins, kind of the same thing as Chase. Second option, but is pretty good. Even though last week he had Butterfingers, I don't mind him. If you're stacking Anthony Richardson, kind of like Funk was saying, I like Pittman. I really don't like these price tags between Sutton and Myers. Myers has gotten more involved with Vegas, but still not. I can understand Thielen's been getting more receptions, but not really. If Judy plays, I don't mind him. Gabe Davis is good. Godwin's gonna look great when Mike Evans gets thrown out. Addison, I guess. If you end up like me and play a Justin Fields lineup, DJ Moore looks good. Tutu and Tank look good. Zay Flowers looks good here, and that's only because sort of Rashad Bateman and Odell have not been practicing, and he's already looked good when those guys are healthy playing. And I mean, other than that, I really don't see much. You were saying something about how Osborne has been getting more snaps than Addison, so this could be a decent spot, but I'm trying to scroll through and look at more, but there's nothing else that's exciting me. Mims has been going crazy. Not terrible there.
I think Mims or Josh Downs if you want a rookie guy. Try to get different.
All right, let's go over the like two tight ends that are actually worth playing. So it's got Hawkinson, Andrews, Kittle, Henry, Goddard, Freiermuth, Taysom Hill, Joku. Who
I don't
do we
really have
just
any takes here, to be honest. Tight end's usually the last position I feel that in defense, depending on what's competitive. I mean, just looking at the price tags, kind of like either of the Buffalo tight ends. Uh, Everything else just looks so meh. Like I
I kind
can't.
of sorry, Jesus. You can go with like Andrews or Hawkinson and pay up, but I mean, you can get Tyler Higbee, who is involved in the pass game a lot against Cincy. I think he had like 8 catches or something, and he's at 5,100. Fryermuth has a good matchup against Houston. He's $400 more expensive than Higbee. Could just throw in Taysom Hill because they're gonna run him at quarterback a little bit, throw him in at running back.
Yeah, and I think Hurst is okay as well at 5,400, but I don't really see this as like a pay up tight end spot for me.
No, not at all. Goddard, I've noticed that Philly's been trying to target him a little more. So, I mean, whether that means he actually gets receptions. And also this Higby injury, I think he's fine. It's just kind of giving him some extra rest. I like Gerald Everett if he's playing, but it's been kind of up and down in terms of if he's actually playing or not. But I think that's it, though. Do we miss anything?
Nope. We don't really have to worry about going over defenses because no one knows honestly what's going to happen. It's always just a variance play, anyways. You just try to get different. Don't play the chalk. The chalk smashes, so be it. Uh, Make sure to check out Stochastic's data in our description. We'll link down below. This is what we use to build our lineups. And like and subscribe if you haven't already.